Well, there's been a major terror crackdown in Jammu and Kashmir. 6 terrorists have been killed in the last 48 hours as part of fierce encounters that have taken place. And this was conveyed to us in a special media briefing that took place. In Pulwama, 3 terrorists have been killed. 3 terrorists have been killed in Shopian. My colleagues Nazir and Shiv Arur join us with more details on this. But before that, let's listen in to what officials said today.
सेकेंड ऑपरेशन था जो कि त्राल के इलाके में हुआ था। उसका टेरेन बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है, जो कि एक गांव के अंदर था। तो उसी में इनपुट आई कि शायद एक टेररिस्ट ग्रुप जो है एक गांव के नाडर के इलाके में गांव के अंदर कुछ टाइम के लिए सेटल्ड है और इमीडिएटली उस विलेज को कॉर्डन किया गया। जब कॉर्डन लग रहा था तो ये टेररिस्ट जो है उन्होंने अलग अलग घर के अंदर पोजीशन ले ली और फायर करने की कोशिश की, रादर फायर किया। और उस टाइम पे हमारा चैलेंज था कि जो सिविलियंस हैं, जो इनोसेंट, जो वहाँ पर बच्चे, फैमिलीज, बुजुर्ग हैं, उनको वहाँ से निकाला जाए। तो पहले उनको सेफली उस जगह से निकाला गया और उसके बाद सिस्टमैटिकली तरीके से सर्च करी गई एक एक घर को और एक एक करके अलग अलग जगह के ऊपर इन 3 टेररिस्ट को न्यूट्रलाइज किया गया। तो इस तरीके से ये दोनों जो ऑपरेशंस थे ये डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टेरेन में हुए हैं। एक जंगलों में और ऊंची जगहों पर हुआ है, दूसरा जो है वैली फ्लोर के अंदर और गांव के अंदर हुआ है। लेकिन दोनों ऑपरेशंस को सक्सेसफुली जो अंजाम दिया गया वो शो करता है कि सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस टेररिस्ट कहीं भी हों उनको ढूंढेंगे और न्यूट्रलाइज करेंगे।
Let me go across to my colleague Shiv Arur. Shiv, this is clearly to strengthen the security grid in J&K, especially after the Pahalgam terror attack. Tell us a little bit about these operations that went on for the last 48 hours in J&K.
Vasudha, the press conference that has just been held by the GOC of the Victor Force and a senior officer of the J&K police is not a common thing at all. It sends out a very, very stern message about a shift in policy post Pahalgam, that local terrorists are not going to be spared. Any restrictions, sensitivities, the whole our hands are tied kind of compulsions that have otherwise restricted forces from going all out against local terrorists in the past are a thing of the past now. And it's a very, very strong message that is being sent out by the army and the J&K police by holding this press conference. Now, to come to your question on the 2 operations, one of them was in the Zampatri Shukru forests of Shopian, which I reported from a couple of days ago. Yesterday in Tral, which is in Pulwama, is where the second operation took place, the encounter. In the second, they were Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists. In the first, they were Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists. All 6 were local terrorists who had at some point or the other visited Pakistan to receive training. Obviously, they were being paid by Pakistan and the ISI as well. The 2 principal terror organizations operating with Pakistan sponsorship and training are these 6 terrorists who have been killed. It also reflects a very, very aggressive shift since Pahalgam. As far as the demolition of houses were concerned. Remember, in the opening days after the Pahalgam attack, you remember about a dozen houses had been demolished, and then suddenly that crackdown had stopped because there was a little bit of political hesitation as far as going after local neighborhoods was concerned. But this press conference, these 2 operations, is a very clear signal. Local terrorists will not be spared at all.
Right. Before I go to my colleague Nazir, also a quick question to you, Shiv. The briefing also informed us that some of these terrorists were also involved in raising funds for terror operations. What does that say about the nature of terrorism that in some ways is taking shape in J&K?
Very correct. Raising of funds, recruitment, maintaining the chain of command and other ecosystem issues is something that has been a huge pressure point for the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Lashkar-e-Taiba in Kashmir, South Kashmir and elsewhere since 2019. Since the entire abrogation of Article 370, the new paradigm as far as security was concerned, the idea of normalcy coming back, local communities reducing the amount of support that they give to these terrorists, etc., has meant that they have been under huge pressure, to either create attacks and, sort of remind the system that they still exist, or that their funding is going to run dry. And therefore, recruitment, money raising, etc., has become a much more difficult task for all of these groups. I reported from different parts of Jammu and Kashmir, including Pulwama and Shopia, where there still exists some small pockets of resentment and separatism and some clear local support for terrorists of this kind. But overall, things have changed dramatically. And I think that, Vasudha, has given the security forces strength, in addition to the Pahalgam terror attack and the red line that was crossed, to go after them with absolutely zero mercy. That's what this press conference is about.
Right. Thank you, Shiv. Stay with us. Nazir, both these operations have taken place in two different terrains, one in Pulwama and one in Shopian, like Shiv was also describing. Tell us, how did the officials, how did the agencies, how did the army... we are trying to connect with Nazir in just a bit. Coming back to you, Shiv, tell us a little bit about Pulwama and Shopian. You've visited Shopian especially. Did you get a feeling that the population there were expecting these encounters to take place? What was the mood like specifically after Pahalgam?
Very much so. I was in Pulwama, as a matter of fact, just 3 days after the Pahalgam attack. Even in the neighborhoods where demolitions had taken place, even though there was some anger, about neighboring houses being damaged and, people voicing their concerns about the need for the security forces to take it easy or risk, planting seeds of further resentment in these communities. The overall sense that one got was that the communities which have been traditional hotbeds of support for terrorism have completely, switched over. They've that history of separatism has been converted into a complete hatred for Pakistan, because for the last 5 or 6 years since 2019, Vasudha, profit, business, tourism, economy, being able to send their children out, having more money in the household, even in places like Shopia and Pulwama, has meant that mindsets have changed, culturally speaking, as well. And they've seen the futility of, assisting an enemy nation of this kind when the real growth and real benefits are actually here. And remember, it's an entirely new generation of Kashmiris that are now sort of leading the way, and they are thinking very sensibly. I saw older generation people openly abusing Pakistan for the first time in the 20 years since I've been visiting Kashmir. And that, I think, reflects a real mindset change. The security forces have noticed that. They see an opportunity now to finish a job that has been left, very clumsily unfinished as a result of all these messy contradictions. Local bande hai, local support hai. What about, upsetting the local communities and neighborhoods? I think there is greater clarity now as far as that is concerned, and that's a good thing.
Nazir joins us now. Nazir, tell us a little bit about these operations that have taken place. Also, the key takeaways from this briefing that has taken place. Shiv has been saying that this doesn't happen very often. We're trying to connect with Nazir in just a bit. Shiv, just this last question to you. Help us understand the context of the challenges that the army and police face when it comes to these encounter operations. We've heard so much about Pir Panjal mountains and the terrain being so difficult. Explain to us how critical are these operations, and especially the success of it in terms of these challenges?
Vasudha, everywhere you travel in the Kashmir Valley, whether it is Kupwara, forward areas, Baramulla, Shopia, Pulwama, you will see signboards and banners everywhere saying Jawan or Awam. It reflects the parallel wars that the army and the security forces are actually fighting. One is the fight against the terrorists. The other is the fight for the hearts and minds of the local populations. Both are extremely difficult fights. I think after Pahalgam, the clarity as far as what the fight is really all about has become much more narrow, much more focused, because the local populations are tired, honestly. They're tired of living under an umbrella of threat and payment and money and the unpredictability offered by a rogue state like Pakistan. Many people have made that choice, that cultural and societal choice as far as India is concerned. They've seen the benefits of that choice in the last 6 years. And I think that is something that has in many ways emboldened and given the security forces the kind of energy and clarity that they need to go after these local terrorists, which is why when you see Major General Dhananjay Joshi, the GOC of the Victor Force, providing explicit details of these encounters, it represents, in my view, a kind of refreshed energy, a refreshed sort of clarity as far as operational readiness is concerned to go after terrorists in Kashmir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shiv, for joining us. Nazir, to you now. Tell us about the key takeaways from this briefing that happened today, and also about these operations that have been taking place in the last 2 to 3 days.
Well, Vasudha, sorry for this disruption in the broadcast because of some technical issues. We couldn't come in time. So it was a joint briefing by the Army, Jammu and Kashmir Police and the CRPF. And all these security agencies were working together when they, conducted two major encounters, one in Shopian, other in Tral yesterday, in which 6 local militants were killed. So both all these 3 senior officers of the police, IGP Kashmir, GOC, Force, which is a Major General rank officer, and the IGP CRPF, they briefed the media about these operations. And the main thrust was the synergy between the security agencies, how it actually deliver on the ground, how it is helping security agencies to track down these militants in Jammu and Kashmir. And Army talked about how they are dominating the jungle areas, how they are dominating the high reaches, and then coordinating with various Jammu and Kashmir police, CRPF and intelligence agencies, because actionable intelligence is key to success against militancy. Perhaps it is the reason why you see over the last 3 weeks security forces have been struggling to actually track down the attackers of April 22nd. Those terrorists who are killed 26 tourists in Pahalgam. So having said that, these two encounters, which police, army and CRPF is saying is a major success for them, and also shows the synergy between the various security agencies, how they are coordinating with each other, how they are launching operations with each other. And let me show in between the view, this beautiful view of the valley from this Avantipura Victor Force headquarters to this whole place. Our valley looks like, and in these areas, security force have been operating in Kashmir. And police and army said clearly that after this Pahalgam massacre, they have actually recalibrated their strategy to deal with terrorism. This is what IGP actually started with this, how they have recalibrated their strategy to deal with terrorism in Kashmir. And this was because of this recalibrating their strategy, they have been able to kill 6 militants within 48 hours. One was on Tuesday in Shopian, and another was yesterday in this Tral area, where you have seen, in fact, there was a video that was shot from the drone, how that militant was hiding and then in a place. And because locals, they don't have that fighting, but they are not trained, but they are key to militancy when it comes to finishing militancy. And with the killing of these 6 militants, so almost local militancy appears to have been wiped out, because over the last 1 year we have not seen any fresh recruitments happening. Very few have actually joined, and very few local militants have left. So when it comes to defeating militancy, it is important that locals don't join, and it is actually the larger social sentiment which we seen against violence, against terrorism after Pahalgam massacre, when everybody came out and protested those killings, sided with the victims, not with the terrorists, not with the attackers. And that is the biggest moral boosting for the security force also. And they are saying that it is because of the cooperation and the support of local population, they are actually able to track down these attackers. So in a sense, all the security agencies saying after Pahalgam massacre, there was a reset button was pressed, and they have recalibrated their strategy and have been successful in conducting these 2 encounters in which 6 local militants have been killed in Shopian and Tral.